Hey, you talking to me? Are you gonna pound my kisser? Are you gonna square up with me? How rude!
Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are. And maybe you're just drinking mellow corn, 100 proof bottled and bond corn whiskey right now. That's why we like you. Today on Chill Filtered, episode I believe 228, maybe around there.
It's in that ballpark.
Yeah, somewhere around there. We are drinking something that I've wanted to drink for a few weeks now, actually a few months now. We are drinking Russell's Reserve 13 year, the 2022 release. But before I get to any of that, before I talk about the whiskey, talk about my life or Robby's life, let's talk about some business. Don't forget, if you listen to us, either if you do or don't listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please, if you have a Apple or iTunes account, please feel free to leave us a review and a rating. That would help us out a ton.
And if you haven't got an iTunes account,
God bless you. No, I mean, I barely have one. I'm not
229, man. 229. Last week was 228.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. That or I messed it up on the labeling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, Robby, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm a little frazzled right now. It was one of those things like we're on I feel like we are on tight windows to record lately, like every week, right? Speaking of which, be another one next week because I'm leaving for Vegas Friday afternoon.
Nice.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. So, or maybe we could record while I'm there.
We've done that before.
We have. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But no, it was like I had a couple, like one quick thing I had to finish up after school, and it just took a little longer than I thought. And then I got stuck in the parking lot, kind of a thing. So
I got stuck in my parking lot too today. It took like 4 minutes to get out.
Took me about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Dang.
1 minute more. I win. I just one-upped you. I one-upped you, Cole. Other than that, I think we're doing okay. Like I've been taking antibiotics. I feel much healthier. Got a good sinus infection, but I'm feeling pretty good now. And then we're gearing up tomorrow. As long as the roads are good, dude. We have had snow on the ground this morning from snow that we got all day yesterday. So
wow.
We were like when I woke up, it was 22 degrees here. It was like so as long as roads are good, we're gonna drive up to the cabin and do the weekend up there. So
that's cool.
Tomorrow, what's that about? Yep.
Morning.
About 2:00, 2:30.
Ooh.
Try to get there.
Are you working tomorrow?
Now. I am, but I'm just taking like the last hour off. So.
Nice.
Which it is. I think that's like honestly, like special education is really stressful at times. Yeah. But I've got a really good group of people I work with. And so one perk is we can kind of just cover for each other without having to like, dude, can I leave? Yeah, absolutely. I got things covered, and kind of the way our day's structured too, like at the end of the day, we're able to do that. So that's nice. So anyway, that's kind of how I am. I don't know. Nothing too out there. I'm loving my Seahawks. They're winning. That's great.
Yeah.
Sad about my Cornhuskers. They're losing.
My Eagles are
killing it. Fly, Cole, fly.
I wouldn't know until this week. Yeah, I don't really follow football anymore, but when I did, I was an Eagles fan.
Ever since the incident.
Ever since the accident, yeah. And so anyway, yeah, they're doing really well. So
they are.
Go sports, go team.
This is exciting.
Ball game.
One of the guys I work with that kind of covers me for me. He is a huge Eagles fan.
Nice.
So I follow them.
How big is he into the Eagles?
Oh, he's huge Eagles. He's like big Philadelphia fan, so he loves the Flyers, the Eagles, and the Phillies.
I thought you were saying he was a huge man that's into the Eagles. No, I'm kidding.
He is a big dude. He's probably about 6. He's 6'3".
Nice,
stout,
taller than both of us.
No, I'm 6'3" and 3/4.
Are you 6'3" and 3/4, or are you 6'2" and 3/4?
I'm 6'3" and 3/4.
Oh,
although I kind of feel like
before.
We've been over it plenty. But I have never said this. I think I might be shrinking. I don't know. I think my spine's compressing. I'm getting that age where I think I'm starting to lose a little height. So,
yeah.
Anyway, how are you besides being excited for your almost football team?
Yeah, yeah, it's been a week, and I don't want to fully get into it, at least with the
Yeah.
public. But felt emotional this week, and I don't
Yeah.
always like that. I don't like feeling emotional. Um, but yeah, I took off tomorrow. Basically, tomorrow's Veterans Day,
Hmm.
and Beck's daycare takes off the smallest of holidays, including
Uh,
Election Day
I
and
would.
Veterans Day in the same
I,
week.
I wouldn't say Veterans Day
No,
is a
I'm not
small
saying
holiday.
Veterans Day is a small
Okay,
holiday.
just making sure we're clear.
I'm just saying Election Day shouldn't be a whole day, but good for them. They can
Honestly, I
call their
think it
own
should be
shots.
nationwide. I think it should just be.
It probably should be actually,
It
and then
should
just
be. I mean,
party
why
the
not?
rest of the day.
Because
Be
honestly,
like,
so the
I
crazy thing,
voted.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the crazy thing is like first time ever. Like I heard of people in Idaho waiting like 2 hours to go vote, and I'm like, that should be
Dang.
spread. Like you should have the day off, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't
I wouldn't
know
be against that.
that
Just
or
a
like
day
half
off.
day. Yeah,
Make it a day on
I
to
think you.
vote.
There you go.
It's like Martin Luther King Day. It's like make it a day on. But that's more like legit, where it's like, yeah, like maybe serve someone or something like that. But serve
Dude,
your country
have
in
you
a
ever?
non-Veterans Day kind of way by voting.
Have we talked about this? Where I think everybody should have a mandatory, like at least 2 years service to, like either in the military or to like a civil service kind of a thing. We ever
That's
talked
what
about that?
South Korea does.
Yeah, and I think
2
it's
years,
a great
mandatory.
thing. And I think
Mhm.
you, while doing it, you should be put, like if you do that, you should be put somewhere that you're not from. So if I'm from the Northwest, I would go to the South or something, and
Mix it up.
you would gain a little bit of cultural perspective.
Yeah.
You would provide needed things for a community,
Mhm.
and you would appreciate the things you have a little bit more, I think.
You know who else does that besides the South Korea people?
The
The
Church of
Mormons,
Latter-day
but it's
Saints,
not
yeah.
mandatory apparently for the Mormons.
No, it's highly suggested, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. They're like,
But,
well, we'll
the thing is
judge you for life if you don't do it. Your
yeah,
what do they call it again? Their
mission.
mission. That's what it
Mhm.
is.
Which I think is great, like, kids come back more cultured and more mature.
Yeah, yeah. My I knew a homeboy in my last job who did his mission in Boston, I want to say, and enjoyed his because he's from like like Mormonville, Arizona, and so he got some good experience in Boston, like downtown Boston. Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's important to see other people's lives.
yeah, and not just see your little bubble. And you know what
Yeah.
I thought about this week? I would be totally stoked if everyone in the country had to vote, because I feel good about living in a country where everyone votes and where everyone gets a say. And I
Yeah.
feel good, even if that means it's not going my way politically. I would still. It's like It's like the old saying. Like I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend that you may be able to say it. And I think that should apply to voting, especially.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the
so
thing is,
I
so
think everyone
like,
should vote.
there's been a lot of radical stuff. Like in Idaho, we've had some pretty radical candidates that have had
Hmm.
a little bit of traction. And to be
Uh-huh.
honest, I was worried. But like after the vote, like I heard people say, I like that some things this person does, but they are a little crazy. And I thought, you know
Hmm.
what? I can appreciate that. And they didn't win.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
hopefully, I know. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe cooler minds will speak. You know,
Yeah.
or
Prevail.
what's the phrase? Cooler minds prevail.
Cooler heads prevail.
Cooler heads prevail.
Mhm.
Talking heads prevail. Voting heads prevail. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Not even going to
Okay.
get into the politics of
This
it.
is that's like pretty political for us.
No, but I mean, it's like the most open-minded political you could. In my opinion, that you could be is just to be like, no, you should vote. That's what you should do.
And you should get the day off to do it.
Yeah, and you should get the day off. That's political right there. You should get the day off and don't tell me what I can and can't do.
But you
But
have to but you get docked pay if you don't show up with your voting sticker.
yeah, it's true. You got to have the voting sticker the next
So
day,
and
or
then
you're out.
when you leave, you got to be careful no one steals your voting sticker.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would steal 2 and then get 2 days pay, or I
I
would steal
saw
someone else and get 2 days pay.
I saw a meme of a cat
Mhm.
wearing a voting sticker. It says instead of saying I voted today. It says I vomited today, and I laughed and I laughed.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's pretty good.
No step on snack. So.
Other than being emotional, man, everything else going okay?
Yeah, this weekend we're going to Heather is participating in a like one of those charity. I think it's charity, but it's like a run thing, like almost like a 5K, but it's like half a mile. I want to say it's like 0.4 miles, and Heather is doing it in her dinosaur inflatable costume,
Nice.
and so they're apparently I don't really know if it's gonna be actually legit, but they're saying like, hey, join, and we're gonna try to get the world record for people in inflatable dinosaur suits at one place.
Where's that
And
at?
I don't know if that's like legit. Like, are we gonna be close? Like,
I think I saw an advertisement for that somewhere.
Oh, really?
And I thought of Heather, but I did not send it.
Yeah,
So that's cool, man. Good for her. Okay.
So yeah, I think she'll have fun with that, and me and Beck will cheer on from a distance. So yeah, it should be good. Beck's been super affectionate, which I love. Like, she will come in and just lean into a hug.
You're getting in touch with your feelings, man.
That's what it is. And no, I love hugging my daughter. Like, it's like so much joy for me.
Seriously.
So, and yeah, just her feeling like, yeah, I can like soak it in with you, like just soak in this little hug with you. And Heather had her last night. I was out at something, and Heather took a video of her, and she was like, you know how you get when you're like, I call it slap happy, but when you're really tired and everything's funny.
Just yep.
Yeah, Heather was reading her this book and would say like, ooh, and Beck would like lose it. She'd be like, like, and just like fall on her back. She's just like having such a good time, and it was great. And
that's the best.
Did I tell you the other day that the video I took of her? Maybe I didn't. I should send it to you guys. Maybe I think I might have sent it to you guys on GroupMe. It's a video where I accidentally scared Beck. So she was in her room taking a nap, and I'm like, it's been a while. It's been like 2 hours. I wonder if she's still asleep. So I go into the room, and before I even go in, I hear this like thudding noise, and I'm like, oh, she's totally awake. So I like sneak in the room and put my camera, like start recording, and she's like at the edge of her crib, biting the edge of like the railing, and I'm like, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like come in and just, you know, make myself present. And so I go, what you doing, baby? And she just freaks out. Like, she's like, ah! And she like is jumping on her feet, like, you know, like
fight or flight kicked in.
Just, yeah. She's full out fight or flight. And it is hilarious. I felt terrible because I really didn't mean to scare her. And she took like 3 or 4 minutes to actually calm down. But I could not stop laughing as I was like trying to like cool her down after that.
Did I tell you about how I scared Moose the other week? Did I mention that?
No.
Oh, so I was swinging. I was swinging on the swing set, and Moose was
swinging.
Back was to me, and I jumped off the swing, so I covered a distance probably more quickly than he would have thought I could. And as I landed, I went on his hindquarters, and he goes and like falls on his back. Chelsea comes running out. She's like, what happened? Like, she thought Moose broke his leg or something, and Moose is just like looking at me like, I'm an idiot. It was great.
Wait, so you landed on him?
Or no, right behind him.
Oh, that's so funny.
I like Gucci gooed his upper hip next to his tail, and
that's so. And he was like,
but you know the best, like, and you know how like dogs like will make that embarrassed face. He was ashamed. He screamed like a stuck pig.
It's like when Dobby, your old dog, got her temperature taken. Was the story there that like you thought she may have like passed or something, and you're like, well, let's find out if she's got a temperature, or like there was something where she was like,
it was at the vet.
It was
at the vet. Did it at the vet, yeah. But no, there's been plenty of times where like we thought she was dead.
She was so old.
She was old. Yeah,
I love that dog,
dude. Speaking of which, daylight savings time, Juniper slept in 2 hours later, or an hour and a half or something like that. It was a long time.
That's
And it was
already
just
an
like,
hour to sleep in.
yeah. And I was like, Chelsea, she might be, go check. Please go check.
Yeah, go
Please
check to see if
Yeah.
she's breathing. Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's so real. It's like one of those things where you're like, is that morbid, or is that like too worried? But it's just like, it's such a real thing in being a parent, is like, I just want to make sure they're still alive.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. That's kind of my job.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
It's like the main operative of my job.
yeah, exactly. It is your job. And part of your
Mhm.
job is making sure your job is working, and your job is to keep them alive. So, let's send it to break. We have some good history
Sounds
to talk
good.
about today.
I'm sure we do.
And we're going to be drinking a killer pour, or I hope we are, because I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried this year's release yet. So I'm really excited about it. But let's send it to break. We'll be right back. We'll talk about Russell's Reserve. So here we go to break. And we're back. Excited for this history today. There's not too much, but I'll get to that. But first, before I get to that, a huge shout out to Andrew Loudon for helping me get this bottle. I wanted a bottle that he had, and he wanted a bottle that I had. So we made the old switcheroo. And I was excited for this trade. So thank you, Andrew, for being a baller.
Friend. Oh.
How many of us have them?
Travel down the road and back again.
Mm-hmm. I think we have two different songs. But this is our 6th Wild Turkey product on the podcast. We've talked in depth about the history of Wild Turkey, Austin Nichols and all that jazz. So I'm going to cover just a little bit about Russell's Reserve line and the background to that, as opposed to talking about Wild Turkey. So I'm getting some of my info today from a blog post by Chuck Cowdery in December 14th, 2012. So it's an old article, but it gives some good insight. And it's called Of Whiskey and Innovation, Part 3, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. So I wanted to give him some credit. He's a great writer. If you don't know of him, you should know of him. Russell's Reserve started in 2001. Wild Turkey had been around at least since the 50s. And it started in 2001, and it originally was branded apparently with Wild Turkey on the label at that time. These days, you have to look hard to be able to find Wild Turkey on the label. In fact, I don't even know if it's on the label.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it doesn't
Not
even
on
say
my
Wild
label
Turkey at all. Yeah, that's for sure. But you have to really look for it these days, unless you already know that they're connected. And it used to be 101 proof and a 10-year. And these days it's that one is 90 proof.
So Russell's Reserve 13-year, 10-year.
No, like the original Russell's Reserve.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's interesting, though, how close it was to Wild Turkey 101 at the time. Wait, did I write? Is that what I wrote?
I wrote Wild Turkey on it. So now mine does have Wild Turkey on it.
Nice. It does. And mine doesn't. So,
yeah, I guess I'm special.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like how close it was to Wild Turkey 101. Wild Turkey 101 at the time, I believe, was an 8-year. Same mash bill, exactly the same, which is their only mash bill as a distillery. It's 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. Only 2 years older than the Wild Turkey 101, but I'll be honest, that much time can really make a difference. For example, look at Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare. They're a few years apart, same mash bill, same mostly everything, but they're noticeably different, if you asked me. Not too noticeably different. Like, you can tell some similarities for sure. But anyway, since 2005, the standard Russell's has been at 90 proof, not 101 anymore. And the 6-year rye was also released soon after at 90 proof as well. One fun fact I found out about Wild Turkey was that, and Russell's, was that around the time they brought the Russell standard down to 90 proof, 2005, 2006 area, they also raised the barrel entry proof. It had once been 107 proof, but now it went from 110 at the time to 115. and that can make a huge difference in final product. But apparently, that's a pretty low barrel entry proof compared to the rest of the market. I didn't get any other ones, but I read that that's kind of low for like the standard bourbon is 115 proof. Anyway, let's talk about the Russell's Reserve line. I've had a few releases over the last 20 plus years that are pretty special, or they've had a few releases. Basically, really separating the brand of Russell's Reserve from Wild Turkey. First, like I mentioned, they have their 90 proof bourbon these days, and they have a 6-year rye at 90 proof. They also have a single barrel bourbon and rye. The bourbon is a 110 proof, and I actually didn't get the rye proof. I thought I was filling in something else, but I got it wrong. They also put out special editions over the years with the year distilled on them. For example, like there was a 2020 release that was a 16 year. Very rare, and 16 year, and it said distilled in 2003. So at some point they have that 16 year. And in 2021, and then they had other ones like they had a 1998 that was distilled in 1998, but I don't know exactly when that was released, but you get the idea. They had some like ones that were older and had the year distilled. In 2021, they released Russell's Reserve 13 year for the first time. And that was barrel proof. I just had this up. I'm going to look real quick. Here we go. Come on, give me that nice proof, baby. I am missing
I like
it,
proofage.
I guess.
Proofage likes me. Like a lemon
Proofage
to a
loves
lime.
me.
Like a bumble to a bee. That's
this
hard
is
to
killing
find.
me.
And Cole is thinking.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, guys. I hate to do this, but
give me that.
I was looking up last year's proof, and it was 100. Oh, come on! They gave you the wrong one. They were like, "No, it's totally this," and I was this year's proof. Oh,
that's wacky.
What the crap? Were they the same proof? They can't be the same proof. They cannot be the same proof. Why is this so hard to do?
I don't know.
Anyway,
like I'm watching. The way you're doing this, you look like some sort of like you're hacking into the Matrix.
Yeah, I'm like. Anyway, it had a proof last year. That's for sure.
It did have a proof. Okay.
Yeah, it totally had a proof. I'll be honest there.
Even though Cole can't proof it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
It says,
as it clocks in at 39.9% ABV. No, it must be what the crap? Is this impossible to find?
It is riveting on an audio format to watch you Googling stuff.
Dude, this is blowing my mind that I look up Russell's Reserve 13, 2021, and nothing shows up for proof. And everyone's like, yeah, it's totally 57.4%, which is this year's release. I guess they're the same.
Okay, let's go with that for now. I'll do some research. You keep going with this history. I'll do something here.
Anyway, so that's that. And then after that, they released what they called the single Rickhouse Russell's Reserve release, which I haven't heard much about in terms of taste or experience for the whiskey. I don't know anyone who got a bottle. I never even saw it really online. But what we're drinking today is the 2022 release of the 13-year barrel proof. And of course, it's a 13-year bourbon. And same mash bill as I mentioned earlier, that Wild Turkey mash bill, which is 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. And I guess they have the same proof. I'm looking around, and I guess they have the exact same proof. There's no way that's true. But anyway, maybe they were the same batch. There's no way they were the same batch. Anyway, the proof is 114.8. And released officially in July of 22 as a celebration. The original release was a celebration of the 40th year of Eddie Russell's distilling career. And so they wanted to celebrate that. They put out a 13 year, and they put out one this year. Is the one we're drinking today. So let's drink this John piece.
Yo, I'm Rob.
Yo, where did that hat come from?
I've been meaning to wear it on the podcast, but I kept forgetting to put it on.
Who gave that to you?
I made it myself. You ever
Whoa!
watch, I think it's Boys in the Hood.
No,
I can't remember who it is.
Like
one of them has a hat that says like Yo, I'm Trey. So this was like my party hat in college. I wore it around like Yo, I'm Rob. So,
wait, you've had that for years?
I've had it since college, yeah, since like I was a junior.
Nice. Yo, Rob. Here, wait, cork pop. Ready for this?
Geez, I poured before the cork pop.
It's all good.
See, we have had so many amazing listeners sending us samples that the cork. This is 2 cork pops in a row.
Yeah,
I don't know the last time that's happened, but
yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a shaboozy.
Shaboozy.
Ooh, oh, I like that
Smells
nose.
good.
It does.
Ooh, nice cherries.
Cherry. And it's really sweet. It's a very sweet cherry. It's not a medicinal cherry. It's like a Bing cherry kind of a thing.
Yeah, like really sweet.
It's a bang thing. You know what I mean?
It's a bang thing, but spelled with an I.
Maybe a little brown sugariness.
Yeah,
a sweet cherry. Definitely a sweet cherry.
Sweet, really pleasant nose. I'm not getting too many notes of like overproof or too high proof or anything like that, at least on the nose. So, what do you think, Robby?
Palate is worth sipping and coming back for more notes. Man, my lighting is just weird. I feel like I'm in the dark here.
Oh wow,
it is very. There's some complexity there, and it's very strong and vibrant. What exactly am I getting? Not sure. I will say this though: I do get a little bitterness towards the end.
Oh really?
Yeah, but up front, like it's strong, and there's like you can tell it's 114 proof because there's some heat there on it too. Not too much, but there is some.
I can't put my finger on it, but it is delicious.
Yeah.
It's like candy-like. I wish. Oh man.
It's kind of like it's kind of rye spicy. Yeah.
Not too much to me. I could definitely tell this one's a bourbon, but there is maybe some notes. I mean, it is like 13% rye. Berries, but like berry candy, not like straight up like blueberries and raspberries
like
and strawberries. It's like
a berry lifesaver.
And I love candy notes. Yeah, I'm loving it. This was a great trade. I
am liking it for sure. I will say this: it's strong. Like it's got some complexity to it. It's like it's not. I think last week, we had the McCormick last week where it was like it's faint, it's there, it's the light. This is not a light version of a whiskey. Like there's a lot of flavor going on. There's a lot there. It's robust, and I like that. So
if George T. Stagg tastes like this, I'd say this is a great year of Stagg. Okay. I love this pour. I'm not getting any of those too strong or even too what was the bitter? I'm not getting any bitter. It's just sweet throughout for me.
I get mine's slight at the end, but
gonna give it the old few drops of water.
Hit it with the spin J, the old Matt job, the swirly poo,
the old SJ,
making this whiskey dizzy.
That's for sure. Shout out to Willow.
Hey, Willow.
I hope Dramhound plays this and just says, hey, you're famous. You're freaking famous, Willow. Because he might not now, because she'll be like, what does freaking mean?
And my gosh. Can I tell you something? So, Amara would die if I said this, but this last week and a half, I don't know if it's the people she's hanging out with or if it's just the stage she's in.
Yeah.
But she's come home asking what certain slang terms are for certain things.
It doesn't hurt when she's coming to you and not the internet, you know?
No, and I'm very grateful for it. But
Yeah.
honestly, hearing her say, and some of them are vulgar, and I'm like, it's kind of hard to hear my daughter say that. But we talk about them, and it's like, but she goes, you know, you and I talked about things, and I know things. I know these things. But why didn't you tell me all these things? I'm like, honey, there are so many slang, vulgar terms out there that I can't even list them all to you. Yeah. So it's been an interesting week.
Dang, that's hard. That would be hard for me.
You know, I
cinnamon
think
at all? Go ahead.
What's that?
Slight cinnamon, but in a candy way.
Slight cinnamon. I can see that. It's mentholy. I get the little bit of mentholy minty. So I can see the cinnamon. It is hard, but it's one of those things where it's like you just, as a parent, you have to be very open. You know what I mean? And so we got to get that girl to shut up. But I'm so grateful that she talks to me about that stuff. So,
have you tried this with water yet? Right now, he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it opened it up. I don't know if it's better, but all the notes are brighter. That almost strawberry candy-like taste is showing up a little more.
This feels higher in rye to me.
Oh, really?
Like I would think this is a high rye.
Just rye spice.
You know, and I don't know if it's the proofage, because sometimes proofage will kind of get that spiciness to it. Why is it spicy? But it's I do get something like that rye spice. It tastes like that's one of the forward notes to me, is like just a spiciness. But it does remind me, like I always think of Eagle Rare as being like spicy too. So I don't know. Maybe there's some overlap there. I don't know what the overlap is.
This definitely has. I mean, some would consider 13% rye high rye.
It would. Okay.
Some wouldn't.
Oh well, I get some spicy. I get the more cinnamony, leans towards cinnamon on it.
Cinnamonious.
Not super sweet in a way that I can pick out. This is that sweetness. Is this sweetness? But there is a sweetness to there. I think I like it better with water, to be honest.
After a few sips, I like it, but like it better neat. After a few sips, especially.
I will say this though, neat again, robust. I liked it, but I think I could sip. I'm not getting the bitter like I was neat, so that's good. Dude, what is?
So I'm ready to drop a cube here.
Okay, you drop that. I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm dropping it all right. Notes on the color, since Robby has stepped away. It's dark. Yeah, 13-year barrel proof. It's dark. You can see it if you're on YouTube.
It is real dark.
Color of the bottle.
It's a nice polished terracotta.
The old copper terracotta.
Copper terracotta. I think that if I ever get into a group of like actual whiskey snobs, I'm like, it's a, like if it's light, I'll be like, it's a tarnished terracotta. I'm using terracotta no matter what.
Tarnished.
Dude, this daylight savings time is killing me. Like, do I look really dark to you?
It's darker than normal for sure. Do the lights on your computer thing don't work? Or like you normally have lights, right?
I got my light going.
Weird. That's better if you hold it like that, whoever that is.
Well, I can't. It just came in. Okay.
So my whiskey got colder. Ooh, great nose. Great nose. The best nose yet, in fact, in terms of the ice pour. For me. It's just those berry candy notes. I think strawberry stands out, but like a candy strawberry, not like a typical like
a dried strawberry.
Maybe, yeah, but like sugar dried. You know what I'm saying? Little sugar, more sugary than because some strawberries are bitter. This one's not bitter so far.
Not bitter. Ooh. Sweetness on the nose for sure. Strawberry. Got it.
Front of the palate is a bang.
And I only had my ice cube in there for a couple seconds, and strawberry was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, nose. Yes. This is a hubbard of what nose? I tell you.
Yeah.
I would not have expected to go
it's like the best nose. Yeah. The front of the palate with the ice pour was just pure sweet sugary berries, and we've said that a few times, but it just right in the kisser.
Dude.
Yeah.
Ice pour for the win, I think. I really like it. It's I will say
It's pretty good.
I think I'm pleasantly surprised by it. Like it is ice pour is like really good, especially for an ice pour.
Yeah,
I
that's for
think
sure.
neat is great. Neat is a really good bourbon. Like it is really like there's a lot going on. Can't go wrong. I would not turn it down. But ice is surprisingly like super delicious.
Yeah,
Nothing's
I'm
killed. It's
impressed.
very sweet. It's nice and it gets a little like silkier. It's that alcohol burn is not there. I'm not getting really any bitterness. Ice is kind of killing it, and the nose is awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think it is great. I do think I would prefer, especially if I were to pour like 2 ounces of this, I think I'd prefer it neat as opposed to ice, but I think they're all great. And like I said, there's this like pow right to the kisser of fruit, especially with the ice pour. But I think the roundedness of the sweetness, it sounds weird. I don't know if everyone gets what I'm saying, but the roundedness of the sweetness isn't as enjoyable to me as the neat pour.
So let me ask you this. Would you, in general, you prefer your whiskeys neat, correct?
In general, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that plays any part in it? Where like
It might.
because I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like I would, if I had my own bottle of this, I'm probably just going to it neat, just because that's generally how I want it to be. But I really do like the ice on this, so
yeah,
kind of yeah.
It's there is I do really think that like it is more enjoyable neat though. Like I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe it is my pre-defined notions or whatever, but I do think I would enjoy this more, especially over like for the first sip. It's great, and like I said, pow to the kisser.
One of these days, Cole.
I'll show you. What was the phrase we used earlier?
How to the kisser?
No, I don't know. I'll show you a kisser. Yeah. Totally.
Hey, you talking to me? Are you gonna pound my kisser?
Are you gonna square up with me? How rude!
How rude!
Yeah.
All right, you got a rating of mine? Because I do. I can go first.
You go first.
I'll go first. I like everything about this. The first substantial hubba to what in a while, and that's impressive because it's a hubba to what on a whiskey that's like known to be like the bar is high, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But, is this a whiskey I would gravitate towards? Yes, but it's not probably my favorite. I don't know. I'm going to go 8.6 on it. So it is definitely great.
That's too bad.
I like it a lot. It's not a bad rating, but I feel like maybe it should get better. But I like, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. No, I actually getting that rye and a little bit of cinnamon. I'm going to go 8.9. I like this a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go 8.9. There, done.
I'm going to give it a little higher. I did mention that this would be a great George T. Stagg release. And I would put a George T. Stagg release, like a great George T. Stagg release, at least a 9.4. So I'm going to give it a 9.43.
I can respect
That's what I'm going to give it. 9.43. I love it. Grateful to have 3/4 of a bottle right now, and going to be drinking this one slowly and enjoying it like an antique collection bottle. I think it is that caliber,
that makes sense.
And I think it is awesome. So
okay,
9.43.
And you know what I think, Cole?
What do you think?
In 9.43 seconds, we should probably kick it over to Whiskey World News / Can you believe this post? And we're back. Part of the show where we read an article or we say, can you believe this post? And we talk about it. Didn't write them, just read them, then we talk them. This one comes from Inside Hook, and it was written by Emily Monaco. It is titled, now hold on to your socks here, folks. We're a bunch of whiskey drinkers, but listen to this. Why the Wisconsin Old Fashioned should be your go-to winter cocktail. Every good Wisconsinite knows that their old fashions are a little special relative to old fashions served the world around. 9 times out of 10, you can go to a bar and say, "Can I get a Wisconsin old fashioned?" You don't have any specifications. They'll usually make it with brandy, says Tripper Duvall, co-owner of Milwaukee's Lost Whale. And spirit choice is just the tip of the iceberg for John Dye, owner of Milwaukee's historic cocktail bar. The defining feature of a Wisconsin old fashioned is the addition of soda to the trio of sugars, bitters, and alcohol.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about this.
It's not spirit forward, which most people think it is, as Duvall. An old fashioned on the rest of the globe is spirit, sugars, bitters, and water. But in Wisconsin, it's spirit, sugars, bitters, cherries, oranges, and then lengthener of some kind. That was my nickname in high school.
Yeah.
It's an easier drink overall, he says. It's refreshing. It's delicious. It's a crushable cocktail. Of course, the lengthener is where those aforementioned specifications come in. 3 options are possible, according to the experts. Traditionally, Wisconsin old fashions are served with sweet, 7-Up or Sprite, sour, squirt, or press, half seltzer, half Sprite, says Dye. Sweet is, according to Duvall, the most iconic version of it. It's the default, the one thing to be handled, and you won't append your order with the word sour or press. It's the one that only stick to at the Lost Whale. It's Dye's personal favorite. If I'm going to make a drink an old fashioned, it will be a brandy old fashioned, sweet, says Dye. My wife prefers bourbon, old sour fashioned, but I don't love her anymore. Just kidding. I still love her. For Wisconsin, Duvall says the Wisconsin old fashioned is a staple of pretty much any event. And I'm going to stop there because you get the idea.
You
Cole,
get the idea.
Cole, you got any thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I got an idea. I got thoughts.
Let's hear the thoughts.
Yeah, I lived in Wisconsin. There's a part of me that's like, okay, you should appreciate what someone's doing with something. Like, for example, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to old fashioned.
You should appreciate what someone's doing with something for sure.
No. I mean, so what I do with an old fashioned is an 1.5 ounces of bourbon, 2 full dashes of Angostura bitters, ounce or a half ounce of 2-to-1 simple syrup, and then a lemon peel, and then ice, and that's it. But Wisconsin, you gotta love Wisconsin, especially if you've ever lived there. You gotta love them because they're all really proud of what they're good at. And one thing they're good at
proud people
is beer, cheese, and ice cream. But one thing I wouldn't say they're the best at is old fashions. This is me. I love you, Nathan Anthony. I love you, Caleb Olson. Love you, everyone else. Ben Klepsig. Love you guys. But there is a better old fashioned than a brandy old fashioned with Sprite in it, or 7-Up or whatever. Don't get me wrong. And here's where I'll finish. Don't get me wrong. It's delicious. I'm going to be honest. I've had them. They're delicious, but they're just so sweet. And I think a better old fashioned is a traditional old fashioned with whiskey and not Coke or not Sprite or anything like that. But don't get me wrong. I've had them. They're delicious. So that's my thoughts.
Okay. I am an old fashioned man. I prefer everything old fashioned. When I go to my car, I get my crank out, put it in the engine block, and I turn that sucker a few times. When I call someone on the telephone, I put one thing to my ear, my mouth to the device, and I crank the side of it to ring the operator.
Crank it
when
up.
I go
see
flying,
a theme here.
When I fly, I don't fly unless I see someone go up to the jet turbine and spin that sucker a couple of times.
Start it up.
I like things old fashioned. I don't think this is an old fashioned. Why has it got to be called an old fashioned?
It's a new fashioned.
It's a Wisconsin old fashioned. I get that, but I'm like, is it really an old fashioned? I don't think it is, because my understanding was I didn't realize there was 7-Up or Squirt.
It's very sweet.
I can see why.
Yeah, I actually bought a bottle of Corbel just so I could make a Wisconsin old fashioned. Still haven't cracked that bottle of Corbel. I had it for 2 years.
I'm not a big brandy fan.
Have you had Corbel? It's extra sweet.
I even her hits. The boy is mine. I don't get it.
The boys are back in town.
Brandy.
Lizzie. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's it.
That's kind of interesting. I just don't see. I don't see that's.
Don't get me wrong. Someone hands me a brandy old fashioned.
That's a highball.
I'll drink it.
When you add soda to something, you've got a highball. That's not a normal.
No.
That's not.
Like, yeah, but what if it's Sprite or 7 Up? That's a different story.
It's still a highball.
Nah, it's gotta be. It's
Yeah,
gotta be
because like
soda
a
water.
rum and Coke is a highball. It's a
Is
classification,
it?
right? And we think when
Oh,
you
I
add
didn't
a
know that. I
carbonated
didn't think so. Maybe it's
drink
a
to just
Ricky.
a spirit,
I forget what a Ricky is, but there's like a
a
gin Ricky
gin
or something.
Ricky. I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it's.
I think it's a highball.
It's
Or at
lemon
least in a
soda.
highball
No, it's
glass.
lime soda water, and I think simple syrup with mint.
Okay.
I think there's mint in it
Uh,
too.
so
I don't know.
it's like a ranch water with instead of tequila, it's like rum.
Gin. A gin Ricky has no rum in it.
Yeah. Totally.
You're thinking of rum Ricky, which was the
rum. I bet there
drunk.
is a rum Ricky.
I bet that. Yeah, some guy named Rick.
Story time.
Rum. Okay.
So I went to a bar one time when I was like 21, 22. I was very young, and I really didn't go to bars much at that time. And I just wanted to mess with the bartender, as well as I was like, I wonder, there's so many
Names
like cocktail names that I was like, I wonder if they'll pick up this one. And it wasn't, I mean, it actually was a cocktail name. If you look it up online, there is a cocktail called this, but no one knows of it. And so you ever seen the movie Rounders?
Yeah, where his head explodes. No, with the math, with the poker.
Poker, yeah. And he walks up and he goes, "Give me 2 stacks of High Society." So I asked the bartender for a stack of High Society, and he did not know what I was talking about, which is okay. I was that kind of kid. So,
there's been a couple times, like when you go through classic cocktails, if you go to a cocktail bar and you'll ask for a certain classic and they don't know, you just got to call it out and be like, this, that, the other. And they're like, oh, okay.
I'll make that.
So that's happened a couple of times. I had a student the other day writing stuff down, and he wrote "sex on the beach," and I was like, all right,
that's a cocktail. Yeah,
it's a cocktail. But I think it's funny that was, and he's a man of few words, and that kind of got me. I was like, okay,
good for you, middle schooler.
Yeah.
I went to when I was bartending at the place in Richmond. One guy was like, I really honestly normally wouldn't make someone's drink because we were a whiskey bar. We were not any other bar. Like if someone asked me for a dirty martini, I could make it, but I didn't because we were a whiskey bar, and my boss would be mad at me if I did. And that's who he was, who he is. But one guy was like, "Hey, you ever do a rum old fashioned?" And I talked about this once at least, and he said, double the bitters, half the sweet, and just make your normal old fashioned. And I did, and it was delicious.
And that man's name, Rum Ricky.
Full circle. So anyway,
okay.
I guess it's time for what whiskey would you choose?
Yeah, move it on over. And if you said to me,
we got some good answers this week.
And if you'd said to me, "Hey, Robby, let's talk about a cocktail," I'd say, "No, we're a whiskey podcast."
Yeah. We're a whiskey podcast.
So last week, wait a minute. Hold on. Oops. Hold up.
We talked about, go ahead.
So our
admirable whiskey brands.
Yeah. What was your 2 most admired whiskey brands? And I just got it. Okay, here. There we go. I had it up and it went away. Now, Cole, this might be a chill filtered first. I went with Buffalo Trace and High West, my 2 most admired brands. You went with Buffalo Trace and Barrel Craft Spirits. And guess what, Cole?
Even split?
Friggin' tie. 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty sweet. Pretty cool. Had some write-ins here.
We both gave the same answer. Except for
I think we can all agree Buffalo Trace is there.
Yeah.
And then we both have 2 intellectually understandable options as the second. And everyone's like, I can see that.
Intellectually understandable. That's my middle
name. Which was not my nickname in high school. Let's see here. Brian Rapp, doubling down on Buffalo Trace and Barrel. Love how Barrel has such interesting and good finishes. Thanks, Brian. You agree exactly with Cole. Now, if only someone would do that with me. And then we have DJ Rockefeller, 1981. I was thinking that exact same thing as Robby before he said it. Buffalo Trace and High West.
Nice.
Ben Clemson, Mad Time Marketer, Westland and Heaven Hill, Embellished Pod, Bardstown Bourbon Company, and Pritzker and Wilderness Trail Campari. So I respect John freaking Voldemort Hughes.
Pre-Campari
says,
what?
buyout of Wilderness Trail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he says, we'll see where they go. Brotasca Ascanosa, Buffalo Trace, and Jack Daniels, single barrels and small batches are great for the price. Dramham, High West, love their double rye picks, and Heaven Hill, great one. Elijah Craig, single barrel or barrel picks and Parkers. And then Marco, 5151, just went with Old Forester. Only respects one thing, and it's Old Forester. So that's that. Cole, question for you. We're a whiskey podcast. There's no way we're talking about cocktails. Until we are. My name is Rum Ricky. Welcome to the cocktail hour.
No, yo, Rum Ricky.
Yo, Rum Ricky. I'm Rum Rob. Dude, Rob has alliteration with rum. What the heck am I thinking? Oh, this Russell's going to my head. So,
Rum Robby. Anyway,
this is our last episode. No, this is our episode before Thanksgiving, isn't it? No, it comes out the week before.
One more week, yeah.
One more week. So we got one more week. Yeah. And you know what? You've got family coming into town. You love whiskey.
Family coming into town.
Your family maybe isn't like a whiskey connoisseur, but you know they like to drink
not a
cocktails.
Whiskey connoisseur. Yeah.
Would you give your family a drink, a mixed drink? What mixed drink are you going to make at Thanksgiving with whiskey for your family member? What are you going to make, Cole? You got an idea? I know what I'm going to do.
I already have an idea.
You got an idea? Well, let's hear your idea.
Recently, I opened a barrel pick that I had, and it was cheap. It was like $25 or something like that. And it was something that I typically love, but it was not a good barrel pick to me. What I enjoy about this specific bottle is that it is normally very sweet and very inexpensive and very just right up my alley in terms of whiskey and bourbon. But this barrel pick was super dry and I did not like it. And so I still feel okay handing that to my relatives and saying, hey, would you like an old fashioned or something along those lines? And then they'll say, yeah. And I'll pour them this barrel pick of Buffalo Trace that I have that is not as sweet as the average pour.
Sweeter than your average. Papa twist.
Yeah.
So you're making a Buffalo Trace old fashioned.
Once again,
barrel pick.
I am asking you to love that I chose Buffalo Trace.
Okay, well, we've been there, done that, and Cole, we'll see how it goes. Now, what I like to do, this is my go-to Thanksgiving cocktail. Trader Joe's has a cinnamon and apple rooibos tea. And what I will do, I will make my rooibos.
That's what I heard from my previous boss at Starbucks. It's pronounced rooibos.
From Cole's Starbucks Tea podcast.
Shout out to Amy Bucky.
Hey, Bucky.
Bucky.
And I will make a simple syrup, but I will steep per 1 cup. I'll do about 5 bags of that tea in there to steep in there as it cools down.
Nice.
And then I just make myself some with the egg whites
tea.
What the crap is it called?
With the egg whites? Whiskey sour.
Whiskey sours with that as the simple. And I'll garnish it with some cinnamon. And I'll tell you what, I'll use Wild Turkey 101 because it's Thanksgiving and that's what I got to do. And it is delicious.
That's the name of the distillery.
Yeah. So that's about it.
So I like that. So
what are we going to drink next week, Cole?
Well, listeners, make sure to vote this week for who you think won and what you think would be the perfect whiskey cocktail and pour for Thanksgiving coming up. What we're going to drink next week, we're actually going to honor barrel spirits, and we're going to go between barrel Armida and barrel Seagrass, but not the 16-year. They're both the standard release. I believe the Armida is the 5th batch, and I don't ask me what the Seagrass was, but it wasn't. It's not the silver label. It's your standard, and we'll get that on Instagram soon, what that is. But keep an eye out this week. Put in your vote and find out who wins on the barrel realm, Armida or Seagrass. So
sounds great. I can't wait.
I hope that our listeners will vote, and I hope that you are good. What was the phrase you used last week that I use all the time?
Can't remember.
Oh, that's great.
Cool. So, I hope this week that you don't have any reason to have an emotion that you don't want to have. Just happy
besides
emotions.
the emotion of love.
Ooh.
Yeah. But
But
I hope
most,
that,
well,
yeah,
you mean
I
it? But
hope that the
can I try it?
emotion of love will find all of our listeners,
But
but
most
not
of
for
all,
me. I mean, I
listeners,
love them, but not in that
oh,
way.
but most of all, listeners, I hope
Mm.
our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. And he goes, "Brrr!" and like falls on his back